Hello, thank you for joining me. My name is Krista Crotty. I am the business crew chief and founder for Velocity Business Strategist. Today, I'm going to talk to you about blowing up blind spots. It has a lot to do with mindset, self-doubt, and focus. Real quick, a little bit about me. My background is actually mechanical engineering, production, operations management. I have been interested in helping others since I was very young. I took my years in engineering and corporate, married them with my love of motorsports and all of my involvement in motorsports. And now I help people accelerate their success. And a lot of that has to do with mindset and energy, which is what this summit is all about. Some pictures of me. As you can see, I'm very much a motorhead. I love my motorsports. I love my cars. I love my family. So interesting fact about one of these pictures, my daughter is actually in three of them. The picture of me in my helmet is from the Montreal Formula One race in 2013. We found out a few weeks before I was going to compete that I was pregnant. And my husband's like, what do we do? Keep your mouth shut. Just move on. Let's, act like it's not happening. So I'm excited to share the next 20-ish minutes with you. And let's talk about blind spots. Let's talk about focusing on what it is that you want and what you want your business to look like. Once upon a time, a daughter complained to her father that her life was miserable. She didn't know what she was going to do and how she was going to make it. She was tired of fighting and struggling all the time. It seemed just as one problem was solved, another one reared its ugly head. Her father took her into the kitchen. He filled 3 pots with water, placed each on high fire. Once the pots were boiling, he placed potatoes in one, eggs in the second, and coffee grounds in the third. He let them sit and boil without saying a word to his daughter. Daughter sat there impatiently and moaned, waiting, wondering, what is he doing now? After the 20 minutes, he placed the potatoes in a bowl. He placed the eggs in a second bowl, and he ladled the coffee into a coffee cup. He set them in front of his daughter and asked, what do you see? Potatoes, eggs, and coffee, she replied hastily. Let's talk about self-doubt. Let's talk about mindset. Let's talk about that chatter that happens in your head. Yes, we all have a voice in our head. That one that just said, I don't have a voice in my head. That's the one. When you start listening to that and you start controlling it and you start feeding it positively, your life is going to change. I love this graphic. When I was putting this presentation together, I was like, I could never use this graphic. And then it hit me like, yes, you can. How do you succeed? How do you accelerate success? You blow up blind spots. You blow up the self-doubt. You blow up those questions. You knock them down and you get in front of them. What you feed grows and what you starve dies. This is one of the biggest things with energy. Think about a plant. Think about seeds when a farmer starts to grow things, right? He feeds it. He waters it. He gives it sunlight. The earth gives it sunlight, right? The sun gives it light. They feed it with positivity. They feed it with what they want to come out of it. If you end up starving it, don't water your house plant, don't let it have any sunlight, it's going to die, right? So what happens to your mind if you don't feed it? What happens to your operating system on your phone if you don't upgrade it or update it? It stops working, right? Or it becomes obsolete. When was the last time you took this and upgraded your brain, upgraded your operating system, looked for new things to learn? By the way, you're doing one of them right now. Thank you. Thank you for investing the time. Thank you for investing in being here. You're feeding what you want to grow. You're feeding that abundance. You're feeding that energy. And what's going to get starved out? That negativity, those things that are holding you back. You're going to blow up those blind spots and keep moving forward. Excuse me. Not the strongest of a species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's the most responsive to change. Think about 2020. Think about what happened during the pandemic. Businesses closed, absolutely. And businesses opened. And businesses changed. I know several people who doubled, tripled, 10x their income since the pandemic started. I know several clients who chose to change and respond to the change, respond to what was going on around them, shift the way they were doing things, shift the way they were thinking about things, and have come out ahead. Chances are you've shifted some things, you've changed some things. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here right now. You wouldn't be watching this. You wouldn't be participating. You'd be sitting back like Blockbuster did and said, nope, nothing's going to change. Things are going to stay the same. And then Netflix came along with the idea of sending you DVDs in the mail as opposed to going to the store to get them. And then they shifted again when it became online streaming. Where's Blockbuster now? When was the last time you had a Blockbuster card in your wallet? Okay, I'm dating myself. But, how have you responded to the changes? What are you doing to make things different, to make things better, to shift, to reprogram your brain, to reprogram the way that you think about things? I want you to write down an idea. I want you to think about something that you've always wanted to work on. Something that you're like, oh, that'd be a great idea. And see what thoughts, listen to the thoughts, write down the thoughts that come to your head. Are they more positive or are they more negative? Are they more intense or not so intense? Are they focused on what you want or are they focused on what you want to avoid? When you change those 90,000 or so thoughts a day into what you want, focus them on what you want, change the way that you think about things, you get more of what you want. When you avoid thinking about and talking about and complaining about what you don't want, you get more of what you want. When you say to yourself, I don't want to get out of bed. Sure, you can hit the snooze. And how long are you going to pause your life? What's going to happen when you don't get out of bed? So I want you to write a number down. I want you to write down what it is that you want to make in your business, what it is that you project your business will make this year. Go ahead, write it down. Number that you know what, I'm going to make this year. Now I want you to add a 0 to it. What just happened? Your brain start firing like, oh, you can't do that. Whatever the number is. Maybe it's 10,000, maybe it's 100,000, maybe it's 300,000. What if you could switch that mind chatter? What if you could add that 0? What would your life look like then? What would change? How cool would it be if you could take the, well, what if this happens, to what if this happens? What could be better than that? One of my favorite things from John F. Kennedy is taking the Chinese word for crisis. Chinese word for crisis is made up of 2 characters, made up of danger and opportunity. You can only focus on one. Do you want to focus on the, oh my goodness, what's going to happen if this goes wrong, that goes wrong, that goes wrong, that goes wrong, et cetera, et cetera? Or do you want to focus on the opportunity? What can happen? What's going to happen? What's the positive? Excuse me. What's the positive that can come out of this? Because that's one of the biggest shifts that you can make. One of the biggest blind spots you can blow up is, are you focusing? Take a long, hard look. Are you focusing on the danger? Are you focusing on the opportunity? Maybe you're focusing on the danger and don't even realize it. Maybe you're holding on to something so tight that you can't see the danger in it. How cool is it that you can switch your programming, you can update your software, and really start focusing on the opportunity? One of the biggest ways, excuse me, one of the biggest ways that you can do that is to make adjustments. What can you shift? What can you change? How can you change it in your business? How can you change it in your life? Or are you going to sit there and still make excuses? It's your choice. Champions never make excuses. If you've ever listened to race interviews, when something's gone awry and someone's out of the race, the champions take responsibility. They take the responsibility of the car. Yeah, something absolutely could have gone wrong with the car, and they could have been better prepared. Those people that choose to focus on the danger and the negativity and all of that, they don't stand in the winner's circle very often, if at all. So when you're ready to make those adjustments, when you're ready to take responsibility and respond as opposed to react, stop making excuses. Stop complaining. Start looking for the lessons in what happened. I know for me, this was a big one. And this is one of the big topics we really expand on in a couple of my other programs. What are you focused on? What are your lessons? Something's happened again and again and again and multiple times to you. What's the lesson that you need to learn from that? How can you make adjustments to avoid it in the future? And how cool is it that when you stop making excuses, you start getting the results? Because you can sit there and complain about stuff all day. And when you become part of the solution, as opposed to complaining about the problem, things really start to shift. So I invite you, I love this graphic. I invite you to get out of your comfort zone. When I think about comfort, I'm like sitting on the couch, hanging out, having some popcorn, watching a movie. And then I go into, oh no, did I get this done? Did I get that done? Uh-oh, what about this? What about that? And when I push through and I'm allowed to take that corner for the fourth time in fourth gear and go flat out, because somebody told me once that you can do it. And I looked at them, I'm like, you've got to be nuts. Did this at a racetrack that unfortunately is no longer in existence, a place called Bridgehampton. I remember talking to my coach at the time. Yes, I had a coach. I've had several of them. I have a business coach now. I have a mentor. And he's talking me through the track. He's like, you're really slow. I'm like, gee, thanks, coach. Like, I thought you'd be a little more. He's like, no. Here's the track map. Let's go through it. Let's look at it. Tell me what gears and how you're taking the corner. So we start off, I'm like, down the front straight, flat out in fourth gear, and downshift to second, go through the corner. He's like, excuse me, downshift? I'm like, yeah, downshift to second, back up to third, go through the rest of the track. And he's like, Krista, that corner's flat out in fourth. I'm like, you're nuts. There's no way. I was totally like comfortable with second gear. Fear was even thinking about going into third. And then I listened to what he had to say. I moved into the learning zone. And I then moved into the growth zone. And by the end of the weekend, I had dropped 19 seconds off of my lap time. It's a 3.5 mile track, significant amount of time. And I was going flat out in fourth. So when you move through these different zones, when you move through and move forward and say, okay, I've got this, we can do this. Let's grab that steering wheel, adjust the nut behind the wheel, and go flat out and go for it. You'll move through these zones and you'll end up staying in the learning and the growth zone. The learning and the growth zone are absolutely uncomfortable at times and totally worth it when you get that rush, when you accelerate that success, when you grab that proverbial bull by the horns and tame it and say, let's go. When you take it from second to flat out in fourth, it's an amazing place to be. Because change is inevitable. Suffering is always optional. When you work through a program, when you read a book, when you take that information, it's going to change you. And when you grab it by the steering wheel and you decide to drive through it and decide to really move forward with it, the change is going to happen. Get a coach, get an accountability partner, join a group coaching program, take an expanded version of a short class like you're in today. Because you can choose to stay stuck because suffering's optional. You choose to take the next steps and you choose to move forward, good for you. Change is inevitable, suffering is optional. With that, I would like to wrap up quickly. Go back to the father and daughter. Look closer, he said, and touch the potatoes. She did and noticed that they were soft. He then asked her to take an egg and break it. After pulling off the shell, she observed the egg was hard-boiled. Finally, he asked her to sip the coffee. Its rich aroma brought a smile to her face. Dad, what does this mean? She asked. Her father explained the potatoes, eggs, and coffee went through the same adversity. They faced the same actions. Yet each one reacted differently. The potatoes went in strong, hard, and unrelenting. Yet in the boiling water, they became soft and weak. The egg was fragile with its thin outer shell protecting its liquid interior until it was put in the boiling water. Then the inside of the egg became hard. However, the coffee grounds were unique. They faced the boiling water, exposed to the boiling water, and changed the water and created something new. Which one are you? He asked his daughter. When adversity or crisis knocks on your door, how do you respond? Are you an egg, a potato, or coffee? Now remember, as you move forward in life, things happen around us. It's how you choose to respond that makes a difference. The only thing that truly matters are your choices and how you respond to what you do. Continue to learn, adapt, and make the best choices from each new experience. I would love to invite you, if you enjoyed this presentation, I would love to invite you to join me in another expanded version. I have a 90-minute program calling Blowing Up Blind Spots to Business Ops Bootcamp. It is happening on May 12th. It is a Thursday. It's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. My special offer for you during this program, during this summit, is that normally this event retails for $197, and I'm going to offer it to you for $57. The website is there. It's tinyurl.com/abundant-btcmp. And you can see the coupon code there. Make sure you enter the coupon code. That code will expire on April 30th. I believe in rewarding decision makers and action takers, so it is a limited time offer. I would look forward to seeing you on May 12th at that Business Ops Bootcamp. Here's where you can get in touch with me. I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn, join my newsletter, let me know what you have to offer. I'd love to set up a quick call with you if you have additional questions, and just generally stay connected. bbs-connect.com gives you a discovery call with me, and I look forward to chatting with you. I hope you get a lot out of this summit. I hope you take some actions and put some things into play in your life and your business. I wish you all the best. Enjoy the rest of the summit, and we will chat with you soon. Take care. Krista Crotty, Velocity Business Strategist, helping accelerate success.